You know, sometimes picking out the right bait and lure when you're chasing bobcats can almost be as overwhelming of exactly where you want to set at for them. I can remember the drive that I had wanting to catch a bobcat. You know, when I caught that first bobcat on that snowy Saturday morning there in Greene County, Pennsylvania, it definitely lit a fire on me. Hey folks, this week we're in Mississippi. Jason and I are chasing bobcats. We're doing it a little bit different than we do up here in the north. We're having a lot of fun. Be sure to stay with us. This is trapping time.
Well, look who I got out of bed this morning to go check traps. Gets old seeing those dogs bouncing. This is my story. This is my time. This is Trapping Time.
Trapping Time is brought to you by Trapping Girl Incorporated, Night Owl Lures, Old South Lures, Southern Snares and Supply, Smokey's Deer Lure, Trap Shed Supply, Webster's Predator Control, Duke Traps, Wolf Creek Products, Sawmill Creek Baits and Lures.
Well, we're here in Mississippi. We got ourselves a nice looking bobcat here. Set up on this, there's a food plot behind us here, and there's a roadway that comes down. One side we're pinched between a thicket, and there's a pretty good sized creek that kind of funnels everything right down to this roadway that you saw me just come down. So all the critters are basically going to be pinched right here. And we actually have a set here and one right across from us. Doesn't look like anything's fooled with it. So we're going to go ahead and get this cat out of here, and we'll show you how we set this set up here to connect on this bobcat. Okay, we got the cat out of the set here. We're going to remake this. He's got the place pretty tore up. Well, we're remaking this. I'll tell you one thing, the last 2 days, the last 2 checks prior to today, I've actually caught 2 possums out of here. And guys talk about you have to change the trap because of scent. The animal's going to smell because there was another trap or another animal in that trap and everything. My theory on all that, you stand a better chance of contaminating your set after a catch by changing the trap. Because that trap smells just like all this dirt, smells like cat and everything else that's been in here. But by you changing that trap and bringing a foreign odor into the catch circle, if anything, you highlight your trap. So this just goes to prove that you can still catch without changing the trap out after you make a catch with it.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at smokiesdeerlure.com.
This portion of the show has been brought to you by the Duke Pro Series 550 Offset Cool Spring Trap. Be sure to check it out wherever Duke traps are sold.
Hey folks, if you're looking for something that really brings in the coyotes, then Capital Punishment by Southern Snare and Supply is a match made in heaven. This bait is a select amount of the finest ingredients. You can really smell the musk and glands in this mix. It is ground fine and easy to use. It works great on flat sets as well as in dirt holes. It's an excellent bait to use year round. Deal those song dogs the worst kind of punishment with Capital Punishment.
We're going to try to get this kind of reconstructed the way it is. There was a little bit more of a bank here, is why I picked this spot initially, but he's kind of got it flattened down some. By using that bank, I was kind of guiding him in to where he had kind of a face to go along to work the holes. Get our bed kind of pounded back out. He's got it kind of rounded off and packed in a little bit on us here. Check over the trap, make sure everything's still functional on it and working fine. Maybe if I can hold on to it here. I'm using a Duke number 2 square jaw trap that I've actually removed the helper springs from, which is plenty of trap to hold any cat or coyotes that you're going to be catching. I'm going to take that swivel and that chain, and because that trap is center swiveled and center D-ringed on the bottom, if you kind of smack yourself out a little bit of a depression in the bottom of the bed, it gives it a place to set for all that extra chain and that D-ring to set down in. And you just kind of let it flop down in there. Now, because we used our cookie cutter, we still basically have our exact pattern of our trap in there. Just kind of push it in like that, lock that free jaw down in. I mean, that trap's solid right there, even on a remake, because we already have our pattern cut out in the sod. Using peat moss instead of a pan cover, and we're using basically what a lot of guys call the floppy pan. There's no pan tension behind that. So that trap doesn't have to move a lot in order to fire off or have a lot of pressure put down on it. Just going to kind of blend that back in a little bit with that. Get the edges down so there's no real abrupt edge. What we're going to do is try to find, right there's where our dirt hole was, right there. Clean that back out a little bit to make sure it's in there. Bait's still down in there and I can still smell it good. This whole area smells so much like a cat right now that it's not going to take a lot to attract anything back in here. I'm going to take some of this duff and this tore up grass that smells so much like bobcat right now and kind of bring it back in and around a little bit just to give it a little more of a focal point. And to help maybe get him to swing down around in here in front of the trap. Mr. Tomcat left us a present. We're going to lay this up here. Cats are highly attracted to other cats and to their own odors, so we want to use that to our advantage on this set. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit of our 303 predator bait. We don't drop it on the trap and set it off. We're just going to kind of freshen that up a little bit. It doesn't take much bait, guys. You're not feeding the animals and trying to make them any bigger at the set. I mean, I use a glob about like that, and when you stick it down in there, you just want to kind of smear it around and get it opened up, help the odor get out a little more. But as far as any gland lures or anything, we don't need it. We have anything better than you can get in a bottle right now, because we had the real thing here. We're just going to kind of take some of this real fine duff and kind of just make the set age it up, as they say, a little bit. Don't want any major sticks or anything over top the pan. Just kind of brush it in. Now this catch circle with that pile, I mean, you can see this from one end of the road clean to the other. It's definitely going to be a focal point when anything comes down through here, whether it's cats, coyotes, fox. Probably doesn't matter too much. I don't like to leave my feet print, or my feet printer where I was kneeing down is a depression in the ground, because I don't want anything else to stand out other than that exact set right there. So, but other than that, that's pretty much a remake on our cat set. We have a lot more traps to check today, so hopefully we're able to put a few more critters on the back of the bike today.
Hey folks, we're coming to you live from Robbie's Trapping Shed. Be sure to stay with us. When we come back from the break, we're going to the trapping time set of the
Hey
week.
folks, be sure to check out our all-star lineup for the upcoming season. New for 2018 is the hard-hitting Blackout Predator bait. If you're looking for a beaver-based bait with some kick, this is it. We're also proud to add to the batting order our line of mouse-based baits. If you're looking for a mice bait so pure it's practically eating cheese in the container, then you will want to try Peyton's Pretty Mouse. Maybe you're looking for a bait with some long-range appeal for those cold winter nights, then you've got to try Peyton's Dirty Mouse. When you're serious about trapping predators like we are, then be sure to make your next purchase at Trapping Time TV.
Hey folks, Robbie Gilbert here, host of Trapping Time TV. Hard to believe, Season 5. We'd like to give a big shout out to all the fans who made this possible. To show our appreciation, we're offering 10% off our entire website from now until December 31st, 2019. Just enter coupon code TRAP10. We carry a full line of trapping supplies such as Duke Traps, Webster's Predator Control Baits and Lures, Sawmill Creek, Trap Set Supply, Old South Lures, Night Owl Lures, and many more. Before your next trapping purchase, enter TRAP10 and take advantage of all the great deals at TrappingTimeTV.com.
Okay, so here today, we're actually working on a remake. We just caught a small kit here in this set, and we got to do a little repair. So pretty much your first step to a remake, you got to find your old trap bed, get all the debris out of here. Raccoons really like to tear up a set. Once you find that, make sure any of your swivels on your trap are free of any grass. That way the next animal you catch, you know, there's minimal damage to them. I got my trap bed here. It's not too torn up. It's a little wet. It's been raining here the last couple days. We'll pound this out and get the trap bedded back in here. Alright, so we got our trap back in the bed. Dog's not bent up. That's something you always want to check when you get done with a catch. Make sure that the dog and everything else on your trap is still in good working order. We'll start packing our trap back in the bed here. Alright, so after you get done packing your trap in your bed, you want to do a 4-finger check on that trap. Make sure it's not going to wobble. If that trap wobbles, they're going to feel that under their feet. Next thing is to make sure your pan's flush with your set, so it's not the first thing that the animals step on. You want them stepping down onto the trap, not straight onto the pan. Alright, so we got our leaf here for a pan cover. That's a big help when it's raining here. Leaf is natural. You know, if your pan does come uncovered, it's a very natural attractant for those animals. They're not going to be scared to step on that. The other thing is it keeps the mud and the dirt and the rocks from going under your pan. You can try polyfill under the pan. Some people have great luck with it. I've tried it. Foxes tend to pull it out more than they do a leaf. So now that we got that set, next thing we want to do is find our hole off the center of our trap. You want to make sure that your hole is going to be dead in the center of your trap pan. Alright, now here's a big thing, guys. When you find your hole again, this hole has had lure on it. You do not want to take this shovel full here and dump it in your sifter. What that's going to do, it's going to take all your lure that was just down that hole, put it in your dirt, and they're going to be rolling and everything else in the set. Alright, so we're going to take our dry dirt here, go right over our trap. You want a nice light coating of dirt. Too much dirt, and when it's wet like this, that trap is not going to fire. Or you're going to come back to a lot of sprung traps. I like to just barely get the trap covered, and then you level it out with your fingers, and if you got a little bit showing, you add a little more. But you always want that pan to be the one low spot in your bed. Next thing is you take some of this debris. which is really good when it's torn up like this. You get some really good eye appeal out of this. Any canine that passes by is going to want to stop and check this out just because of the eye appeal, the smell. There's a lot of things going for this set. It may not be your ideal target animal, but any little extra scent helps around a set. So the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to get some lure down the hole, and we're going to move on to the next set.
Well, you see, trappers are a special breed of people. We're dedicated, committed, and passionate about what we do and who we are. Each and every one of us has an intense desire to be the very best we can. So in the world of skinny jeans, man buns, and pumpkin spice lattes, sometimes you just have to stop, push back, and tell the world, that's not me. Whether you're from the far north or in the deep south and anywhere in between, Southern Snares can help you succeed at getting the job done and being who you are.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at smokiesdeerlure.com.
Hey folks, use that little tip right there. I'm sure that's going to put more fur in your shed. Now let's get back to me and Jason in Mississippi and with all the Bobcat action.
Man, that's awesome. We're trapping this property. We've been trapping it for going on 4 years now, and we're always looking for cats when we're down here. Jason actually just caught a cat probably a quarter of a mile from here, and we were just wondering if I was going to get lucky enough to catch one today, and I did. Guys, what we're looking at here, we've got this old gravel road that runs back to the back of the property, but we've got this beautiful pond here. You guys may remember some older episodes, me and Jason taking some otters out of this pond. Reason we focus on this pond, and the reason I put a cat set in here is we've got this gravel road that goes back into this big timber, but we've got this breastwork of this pond. All these animals are going to get filtered in. They have to. If they're going to get across here, this is the easiest place for them to go. So when I put this set in, I'm probably 35, 40 feet off the edge of the road, but I kept this. You always hear me talk about natural backing. This is natural backing, guys. See how thick this brush is here? These cats and these coyotes are not going to go through here unless they absolutely have to. If there's a mouse or something in there, they're probably going to go in. But this cat, they're going to just come bebopping along. And a lot of guys don't give cats a lot of credit for their sense of smell. Now this set, it was blended in. I did kind of a mouse nest set, and all the more he has it tore up, we're probably going to end up doing the same exact thing with it. So making this remake is going to be super, super easy. But now we're going to have all this cat smell here, and I think we're going to connect again. But we're in here to take all these predators out, and this landowner is going to be tickled to death that we get this cat out of here. All right, let's get him out of the trap. We're going to kind of break down the set of what I had happening here, and maybe we'll get lucky enough to catch us another one. All right, guys, we got this cat out of the trap, and we're going to remake this, and I'm telling you what, this is probably one of the most simplest sets for eye appeal and quickness of getting in. This cat has actually helped us out. When he tore up this catch circle, he's pulled all this old grass up. So we're going to just pull all this, try to find all this loose grass and get it up here and throw it out of the way for right now. We always want to make sure our swivels and everything are working. Cats usually don't affect it too bad because the way they get caught. Now, if this was a possum, this thing would be so plugged up with grass, it'd be utterly insane. And we'd spend probably half the time trying to get the grass back out of it. But because we use our cookie cutter, we've got our perfect trap pattern still in there. One thing that's nice about it, when they get caught, they pull out. They're always pulling away, so it doesn't really do anything to the trap bed. And if you look, that trap bed is almost as perfect as I put it in. You can see the complete outline of it right there. So that's what makes it nice on these remakes. Now usually I'll pound down in where my levers are to make sure everything's solid. And then I'm going to pound this down in, because a lot of times when they get caught, they give a yank on that cable. Now we're going to check our equipment. We're using our 175 Duke, as always. Kind of clean these jaws up a little bit. I've never really found where it hindered the operation of the trap, but sometimes it may just be an extra odor that we don't want in there. We're going to try to get our pan as level as possible. And now time to bed the trap. Just punch it right back down in. That thing is perfectly solid. We can do the finger test all the way around. You're looking for a wobble. We're tight. No issues there. We're going to use our peat moss here. A lot of guys like a depression over the pan. I don't. I want this thing to look as natural as possible. I don't want them thinking about where they're putting their feet. I want them thinking about where my dirt hole is, which is right here. Okay, now we're going to take, I told you before, we've made kind of somewhat of a mouse nest set. We're going to bring all this together, and what you want to try to do is try to get, ball it up a little bit, so we can kind of get somewhat of a hole in there. We want that eye appeal, is what we want. And this grass down here in the south makes it really, really nice. If this was smell-o-vision, you guys would be going nuts right now. Alright, so we got our hole, and we're going to take this grass and bring it right back around it. Now a lot of times with cats, we like to set off to one side or the other. They just seem like sometimes they want to hit one side better than the other than going dead on. But I've caught them every which way, but we're just trying something just to increase our odds a little bit. And like I said, we want to blend this in as much as we possibly can. We don't want him thinking about where he's going to put his feet at. I don't use a lot of guide sticks, and I know guys that have lots of success with it. I want them to work my set and my set only. Now, we've got plenty of cat lure in here. Now, we used our Matrix cat gland when we actually made this set originally. I'm not going to get any more out of that little bottle than what this cat's been putting here all night. But I am going to take some of Peyton's Pretty Mouse and put back down the hole. Not that I think he got any out, but that way it's just a little bit more fresher, because this isn't a tainted bait. We're running into here in the south, especially because it's been warm. The same way up north when it was warm and rainy. The possums, we get these loud baits, and we are just hammering the possums. So we're trying to stay away from that as much as we possibly can. So we went with some of our milder baits, and our success is really starting to pick up. But awesome. We came down here. I caught a cat. Like I said, Jason, not too far away, he caught one. We just come from that trap, and caught a really beautiful bobcat, Tom. I didn't even check and see what this one was, but any cat is a great cat. Okay, we're going to get up out of here, move on down the line. But if you use these little tips right here, this is about as simple as a bobcat set as you can get. You will take coyotes on it, but if you guys are looking for one little tip or something just to throw in your bag of tricks, the mouse nest set could be that.
You know, I've had the opportunity to chase bobcats for a lot of years and actually catch them in a lot of different states. Even some states I've had to catch them and turn them loose. But everyone is special, and everyone gets me pumped up and can't wait till I get a chance to catch the next one. Be sure to join us next week. Guess what we're trapping? Robbie's favorite thing. We're trapping coyotes. We're in southwestern Pennsylvania. Be sure to tell your friends. You definitely don't want to miss this episode. Like we always say, we're keeping the tradition alive here at Trapping Time.